so that you can, in fact, attract the right people into your business. We're recruiting to succeed, and that's our ultimate goal, right? And there's a difference between having an organization full of loyal Shakeology customers and an organization that is a mixture of your loyal customers and business building coaches. So that's what I'm going to teach you today. And so some of you may have heard of this before and may have done this training. I got this idea from another really awesome coach. And so the first thing that I even teach, you know, even your emeralds, even in your emerald to diamonds and those groups that you do, you can teach this to them. And so you want to kind of hone in on who is your ideal coach. And you can think about this as a customer too. So you can channel this as you're teaching people to market for customers too. So I have my coaches sit down. This is an activity that we do. And we say, okay, if you had to envision the person you would want in your business, what would they look like? What would their interests be? What would their activities be? Are they a mom? Are they single? Are they married? Are they divorced? Do they have kids? Do they like to scrapbook? Do they like to shop? You know, are they spiritual? Think about all the things that you are kind of like you. It's almost like you're sort of describing yourself. And so I would sit down and I would think, okay, my ideal person is a mom. My ideal person, you know, stays home with her kids. She doesn't want to spend money on herself, but she cares about how she looks, but they're on a tight budget. And so, you know, she always tends to be last. She doesn't want to pack up her kids and drag them to the gym because it's more of a hassle to get everybody to the gym, check them in. Somebody's crying. Somebody doesn't want mom to leave. You know, that's the mom. That's the person I'm looking for, that person that's struggling to find who they are. And so I sat and I just wrote this all out of who this person was. And then what I do is once you have this idea of who this person is, now you're going to attract that person to you. You know, even have your coaches find a person, find an image and put that person on there so they can just visualize who that is. And then when you go to sit down and you start to type every Facebook post that you do, I want you to think to yourself, what would that person want to hear? What would they want to hear you say? And I want you to pretend like you're speaking to them. And what will happen is you will start to attract those people. They will relate to you because you're saying things that they're thinking in their mind, but they've never actually said out loud. And you're starting to build a connection with people and develop a relationship, and they're getting to know you before they've ever even asked about a challenge group or about coaching before, right? Right. So that is your goal, is to just have that focus. And I'll tell you, as a new coach, right, I had this great idea. It was, you know, March, it was spring break time. 2 small kids. I'm a mom. And I'm like, I'm gonna do this spring break bikini challenge, and I'm gonna use Brazil butt lift, and that's gonna be my program. And I created this image, and I started to put it out there and invite people, and nobody joined. Not one person. Why? But I could see other coaches that didn't have kids and that were younger, and they were getting like 20 people to sign up for their group. It's because that's not my market. People in my market are not getting ready for spring breaks. We are in our sweatpants. We are babies puking on us, right? Like this is not, we don't care. We just want to get rid of the muffin top so we feel good again. And so that was kind of a moment where I'm like, okay, you know, you got to stick to what works. You got to do what works. All right, so moving on. Now let's create a plan. So I'm a systems person, and my team really makes fun of me all the time because I have a curriculum for everything that we do, and they joke about it, but it works, right? I mean, it works. And I'm very methodical, and I tend to come up with a plan, and then I duplicate it every single month. And I might tweak a little thing, but this is kind of the system that I have. So I like to call it my marketing plan, because even though we're in this business to help people, and it's a real feel-good, we're out there with the challenge groups, it's also a business, so we have to have a strategy behind what we do. We just can't, even with our challenge groups and our recruiting, just be out there stabbing and seeing what's going to stick. So the last week of the month, I will sit down with my calendar and I kind of write out, okay, when do I want my challenge groups to start for next month? So I sit down and I make that list. All right, so this month is different. We have the 21-day Fix Extreme launch, so that's going to go on my calendar. My challenge group's going to start February 9th. I know that some people are going to miss the boat at ordering the Fix Extreme when it first comes out, so I'm probably going to need to schedule another one at the end of the month to catch those people. All right, I want to advertise for coaches, and so I'm going to put that in there. So what I do is the first 2 weeks of every single month I focus on getting my challengers for my challenge group. So the third week of the month is always my start date for my challenge group. This month will obviously be different because of the fix, but I'll still have that regular challenge group. And the reason I do that is because when I sign new coaches, I always start my coach apprenticeship programs, or coach basics, we all call it something different, but I always start them the first Monday of every month, and I always do it that way. And my whole team knows that, so if they have new coaches, they know when the next one's gonna be to plug in. But I put that on that calendar. So if you have new coaches that are starting their coach apprenticeship program, and I make my challenge group on the third Monday of every month, that gives them those 2 solid weeks to invite people into my challenge group, because you know a new coach is definitely afraid of starting their own. They don't know what to say, they don't know what to do, and I give them the option to either invite to mine or they can go off in parallel and do their own. But they have a place and they don't have an excuse to say, I'm too afraid to run a challenge group. I'm giving them that opportunity. So that's kind of how I set it up. First 2 weeks, advertising for challenge groups, then I kind of flip the switch, and then I go to start talking about coaching. And I put this all on a little calendar and I share it with my team. Sometimes I make them YouTube videos. Like this week I made a video and I said, all right guys, this is my game plan for February. Here are the groups I'm running. These are the dates. Here's why I'm doing these groups. If you want to invite them, message me. If you want to join my coach apprenticeship program, message me. If you want to do my Emerald to Diamond, let me know. So they know what I'm doing at any given time. It goes in my team page and I send an email to everybody also. So I've got this marketing plan that I'm creating for myself, but the power is duplicating it. So teaching your team to think the same way, giving them that little inside scoop as to why does your brain work that way? Why are you scheduling the things the way that you're doing? Because you have a plan. We just don't want to take it for granted that they understand what that plan is. All right, so once I get this outlined together and I know when things are going to be, I have this thing that I like to do. I like to come up with a theme. I'm a theme person. I just think that works better. I do that with my challenge groups. You know, instead of just advertising for a 60-day group or a 21-day fix, I come up with catchy names, you know, Pay It Forward, or, you know, Battle of the Bulge, you know, for my mommies out there, or Busy Women's Challenge groups. And I do the same thing with coaching. And so I tend to kind of come up with a theme for what my month is going to look like. And I'm just going to use one example, and it is the Busy Women's Coach Apprenticeship Program, because that has really worked well for me. Other ones I've done is the Pay It Forward, where I focus on the transformation stories, and I focus on the fact that, hey, I'm a coach because I had a great transformation, and my goal is to now pay it forward. So I would spend the whole month talking about Pay It Forward. My challenge group was that way. So I kind of come up with this campaign theme that I'm going to run throughout the month. And so the next thing that I'm going to, and let me just back up and say that it takes me sometimes 2 or 3 weeks to come up with that theme. I mean, I will go to Pinterest, I will search keywords, I will read through magazines, I will go on the internet and just search through Google until something just sticks out at me. One month it was a magazine cover that I saw in the grocery store, and it said, "Live your life brilliantly." And I remember writing it down in the notes section of my phone, and I was like, how can I turn this into recruiting? Live your life brilliantly. Live your life with passion. And then it turned into all these stories about how coaches have found their passion in their business, how they're living their life brilliantly, right? So that's kind of how I do it. I just really mull it over. All right, so before I launch, before I ever go live with any of this, I have a system in my mind that I use. So I'm a blogger, and I'm not saying that you have to be a blogger in order to be successful as a coach. This is just me. I like to write. I feel that I can get it out a lot easier. Whatever you use, kind of take this and apply it to you. So I write a blog post about coaching. I write a blog post about this Busy Women's Coach Apprenticeship Program, and I sit down, and before I go into the details of this, I start to talk about things that those people that are watching me would want to hear. You know, are you into health and fitness? Have you completed, you know, a program before? Are you watching me and saying, hey, this BeachBody thing, it sounds pretty cool, but I don't have time for that. I've got 4 kids, you know, they're involved in sports. I don't want to sell to my friends and family. You know, I don't have a lot of friends on Facebook. How am I going to build this business? I know nothing about network marketing. And I sit down and I just start to write this blog post, and I say those things. Are you somebody that's interested, but you're afraid that you're going to fail? You don't have a lot of money to invest in building a business, but you really want to do something different. You have that feeling in your gut that you could be good at this. Well, I'm just the same as you. I started my business not having any idea what network marketing is, what social media was all about. I had no idea. I was deathly afraid of people blocking me on Facebook or not wanting to follow me, but I just knew that I was going to be good at this. And as a mom of two, I have figured out a system that works for me. I have learned how to manage my time, how to schedule my time, how to decide what are the most important priorities to help me get my business started, and I want to invite you to join me too. And here's what I'm going to offer. And so then I start to go into, I have a new coach apprenticeship program starting February 2nd. It is geared towards people that have a limited amount of time but want to build a business, are afraid that they're going to fail, don't have any idea what they're doing. I'm going to give you a systematic approach to building your business that has worked for me, because my goal is to keep you from reinventing the wheel, right? I'm going to give you one-on-one support and training. We're going to have weekly group calls, access to all of my guides, documents, resources, scripts. You know, I will not sign you up and just leave you hanging. I will guide you through the process every step of the way. If you're interested and would like more information, please complete the application below or send me an email. So I write this blog post, and this is a great way for me to get it all out there, this information. So it helps when people are asking you, what is this coaching about? What is this apprenticeship about? And I can give out this blog post to people. And so it not only helps me with the number of the lengthy responses that I'm giving, it kind of lets people check it out before they ask, make a decision, or people follow my blog for health and fitness. And then I make a post like this and they're like, oh, what's this coaching thing about? You know, so this is another way for me to kind of tap into the people that really follow my fitness. And so this has really helped. This has helped me so much. You know, I share this over and over. Every time somebody asks, I say, all right, awesome. You know, will you go to my blog, will you fill out the application, let me know exactly, you know, what questions you have, and I will respond with all of the details. So that helps me with that, you know, 5-step, that invite process. All right, so after I do this blog post, I haven't launched, I don't post it yet, you know, it's still unpublished. I make a little YouTube video, and this was something that really helps because people like to hear your voice. They like to connect with your personality. And so I would make this little, and they call it a trailer, but it's just like less than 3 minutes. Because if I see a YouTube video that's longer than that, I don't want to watch it. I'll be honest. And if you send me an email that's more than 2 paragraphs long, I glaze over. It's got to be short, right? It's got to have images. It's got to be short. So short. And in there, I kind of talk about, are you interested in BeachBody coaching, but you're scared? And I just walk through again, kind of what I said in the blog post. And then I say, I have a new coach apprenticeship program starting February 2nd. I would love for you to be a part of it. And I have 5 spots available, and I just walk through it. And I let my personality shine through. Kind of let them see that I'm a normal person and this is what I have to offer. And so then I'll put that, I'll actually embed that in my blog post. That can be something you put on YouTube. You can put that on Pinterest. You can put that on a like page, on your personal page. So you can share these things in a lot of different places. Then, eye-catching image, that is important. So think about everything when you're scrolling through a timeline or you're looking on Pinterest, it's the image that catches your attention. It's not the text, it's the image. So making eye-catching images about what you're advertising for is key. And so I spend time on PicMonkey, and I will put together an image that talks about my theme, that kind of incorporates. So maybe it's my kids, maybe it's a picture of me cooking dinner and having my earbuds in and listening to personal development, or I'm on a team call and my kids are taking a nap beside me, or I try to depict what it is that I'm advertising for so they can kind of see me in action. And I make it eye-catching, make sure my contact information is on there, and I make it square if you're an Instagrammer, so that you don't have to do a social media picture for Facebook, one for Instagram, one for Pinterest. If you just make it square, it'll just take care of everything at one time, right? We've got to maximize our time. So image, very important. The next thing is set up a business opportunity call. And we're actually gonna get into this a little later, and this is probably something that scares you a little bit, but this is key. And I put this actually in the blog post too, that I'm going to do a business opportunity call. And I usually do it like the third Thursday of every single month. I just have it kind of set that that's when I'm gonna do it. And this is really important, that when you do this call, that you kind of tweak it to be what you're talking about. So if I'm talking about busy moms or busy women and their business, I might, during that business opportunity presentation, talk about how I manage my time differently. So you want to give them little nuggets so they see that you're knowledgeable about this topic too. And then the last thing I do before I launch is also, and I put this on that calendar, the business opportunity call and a sneak peek. So you can either do a sneak peek in a group, creating a closed Facebook group, and I've gone through and we've kind of created a document as a team. Everybody has given me videos and success stories, and I've made my own, and we kind of talk about the things that people ask. The things that people want to know about coaching. Can you make money? How do you, find people? And, can I really be successful at this? And what are the ranks? And we put this together and we do a little closed group. And every day I post this information in the group. And this is helpful because those people that are interested want more information. And as they're listening to these success stories, it helps to solidify, their decision that this is where they should be. You can do this as an email, you can send people daily emails, or you can do it as a group. So all of this information also is listed in that blog post, but these are all the things that I do. This is what I set up at the beginning of every month that I know that I am going to do with my business. All right, so now this is now I've got this whole idea together and I've got this theme, and with any theme that you do, think about how many times it takes you before you decide to commit to something, right? So think about commercials you watch. You might see a shampoo commercial and you might say, wow, that girl's hair looks fabulous and amazing and it's flowy. How did she get that hair? And you see this shampoo commercial and you're like, that's nice, and you go on to the next. And that's most of the time what people do in their newsfeed. They see you working out, they're like, cool, drinking Shakeology, nice, and they move on, but they have to see it over and over again. And so what I tend to do is I think about it this way, okay, I post things like this. So I'm busy moms, build a business. And so I have laundry to do. And this just happened one morning. I'm like, I gotta do my laundry, and my kids slept in today, and I haven't hit Success Club yet. So I could use this time to fold my laundry, or I could go and message people and invite people to join my next challenge group. And so I took a picture of the laundry and I was like, all right, laundry doesn't make me money. It doesn't. And I posted that on Facebook, and it was kind of popular. I was like, this is such a random idea, but it worked. And I kind of talked about, priorities. I can do my laundry when my kids are watching a TV show or when they're playing quietly by themselves. I can sit in the living room and do that, but I need focused time when I'm messaging people to respond. So it's kind of trying to show people like, hey, I know how to prioritize my time. Let me show you, we can readjust that. Another one that I've done is I've taken a snapshot of my Google Calendar, and I've posted that before too, and I've said busy women's tip number 3, and having a Google Calendar and scheduling out my time, and I would show this is when I work out, this is my power hour, here's all my family time, and I would just kind of go through and I would say like, hey, you might think you don't have enough hours in the day, but you do. When you sit down and you plug everything in, hey, you can carve out an hour a day to start building a business. You just have to think about it differently. I did another one about doing my hair. I didn't have time that morning. It was like we had a million things to do. I needed to, message people back, and I'm like, doing my hair today is just not that important. And I had posted a picture about busy moms. Just sometimes we decide we're last, we're the last thing to go. And I said, it's okay, Nobody cares what I look like behind my computer. This is what I do. So it's these things, is when you have this marketing strategy, you have to get people to commit, and you have to show them that you have resources, that you have knowledge, that they can trust you, and this is what this is your supporting evidence, is what I like to call it. So back to that shampoo commercial, right, that you see and you just kind of scroll through, think about if you keep seeing that commercial and you yourself keep having really bad hair days. And then you go to work and somebody at work says, I use this shampoo and it looks great. And you might Google it and it might be really expensive. And you're like, I can't do that. I'm just not going to invest. But you keep seeing it, it just keeps coming up. And then all of a sudden, one day, you're like, I can't take this anymore. I hate my hair. I am sick of it looking like this. I don't care how much it costs. I am going to buy this shampoo. That's what people are doing when they're looking at your timeline, when they're looking at your social media, is you're in front of them every single day, and it's just one day, the right post at the right time when they are ready and they'll commit. And I say this even with challengers, like if you aren't consistent, or with my new coaches, if you aren't consistent at that social media, even when it comes to recruiting, you're gonna miss people. They need to see it over and over. And the supporting evidence, fun things like this, not necessarily even talking about how much money that you can make or, none of that stuff. I'm talking about everyday life, how this can be applied to somebody else. All right, so now let's move on to the promotion part of it. So now I'm ready to launch. And let me just say, I'm sorry that the slides that you have don't quite match up with what's on here. I decided yesterday I was going to change it. So now you just have extra room to write notes, right? All right, so now I'm promoting it. And what I do is I think about the times of day that are most popular for people in my network to be online. And for me, it's usually evenings when my kids are in bed, first thing in the morning before they wake up, and usually nap time in the afternoon. I didn't figure this out right away. It just took me kind of stabbing in the dark until I figured out the system. So I promote it, starting with my blog post. So usually on a Sunday night when moms put their kids to bed and they're sitting there thinking about how much they don't want to get up and go to work the next day, how much they don't want to have to drop their kids off at daycare, and they don't want to have to wake them up out of their warm bed and drive them somewhere. And this was when I had done this particular thing on a Sunday night, and I talked about how blessed I am to have this opportunity, to be able to work from home, to be able to be with my kids in the morning, to give them snuggles, and that I wanted to help other moms feel the same way. And so this was my actual post, and I said, I'm inviting you to join my team. I have 5 spots available, and I want to teach you how, as a busy mom, I built my business. And I attach the image that I created, and then I put the link to my blog post, and I say, go here for more information. If you would like more information, and then they can go there. They can go right to my blog post. That's my main source of information. So what happens is, I share this with my team also. It's really good for them to see how is it that you market this. And you share it with your team, you share it with your customers, and you put it online, and it drives traffic to your social media because everybody's going there to see what you're up to. It might even be current challengers, it might be your friends, it might be your family. You might not think that they're interested in coaching, but you'll notice your views will start to go up. And you'll say, all right, I'm doing something right. And you'll start to be able to identify, okay, this was a good idea. That's another thing I kind of do. All right, so I digressed. Share on Facebook and on Instagram. So, right, you're going to share that. And then also take that image and then post it on Instagram if you're an Instagrammer. Change your text a little bit. Maybe in there, instead of writing your blog post link, maybe you just put, your blog, MelanieMitro.com, or message me and put your email address in there. You can just kind of change the wording around to fit Instagram. Then I pin all of the images from that blog post onto Pinterest, because I have Pinterest, and that takes 30 seconds to do. It's really easy. And then what I do is throughout the week, I go through and I pull different parts. So maybe on Monday, I might share the YouTube trailer on Facebook as one of my posts. Maybe the next day, I might talk about, the Q&A, the business opportunity call that I'm doing. Maybe the next day, I talk about, the sneak peek. So every day, I pull out something different, and I talk about it every single day for about 2 weeks. And trust me, the first time you do it, nobody ever says anything. I don't get an application. I don't get people asking me. I have to go ask and invite. But it usually takes about a week and a half before people start to really come around of them seeing, think shampoo commercial. They got to see it over and over and over again before they're going to make that commitment. So it's going to take time. That supporting evidence is like the key. How many coaches are so quick to post once about a challenge group and say it didn't work and quit? It happens all the time. Same thing with coaching. You've got to talk about it a bazillion times before people are going to say yes. All right, so embedding the coach application. So how many of you have heard of Wufoo? Do you use that? Yes, no? Oh, not a lot. All right, Wufoo, WUFOO.com. It is a free form building site. You can pay to have more forms and more fields, but I started out with the free one. And you get like 8 or 9 fields, and you get up to 3 forms. And so I created a coach application because I wanted to gather information. Because how often do people message you and you're like, well, I don't even know what this person knows, or, you know, and then you just give them all this information and maybe they already knew that. So this really helps me to collect information ahead of time so that when I do go out there and I do answer them, I'm answering specifically what they want to hear. They're telling me what they're nervous about, what they're scared about. You can go to my blog, you can go to melaniemitro.com, and you can see the example, right, of exactly what I put in there. And so this really helps me to say, all right, thank you for, you know, asking for more information about joining my team. You sound like you'd be a great fit. I do have a spot available on February 2nd in my next coach apprenticeship program for you. And now let me answer your questions. And I go through and I answer exactly what they wanted to know. So I am tweaking my wording to what they want to say. So I'm answering their questions, and it's specific to them, and that helps and saves so much time. Even if I'm messaging somebody on Facebook and inviting them to join my team, and they say, yes, I'd like more information, I'll give a couple of sentences, but I'll still ask them to fill that out, because that still gives me a good idea of what they want to know. Again, talk about it daily, 1 to 2 weeks. Again, I said create that sense of urgency. You know, I said 5 spots available, or, you know, it's first 5 people to sign up, you get the spots. You know, there will be a waiting list, or, you know, so you want to create that sense of urgency, because how many people are they're interested, but they're just not there yet, you know, or they've been thinking about it for a long time, but the minute you put you know, only 2 spots left, they're going fast, everybody's like, I gotta have it now. So you want to do that. You want to create that, this is a big thing. Hey, you could have nobody that has joined your coach apprenticeship program and say you only have 1 spot left, right? Nobody else knows that but you. Create the sense of urgency. It will work. All right. Now, let's talk about business opportunity calls. Does this scare anybody in the room? Yes. Yes. Okay. So here is the cool part: is you can go on YouTube and you can search lots of coaches that have done them already, right? I'm sure that somebody in your organization has, and you can watch them. You can take notes. You can say, what would you do differently? How would you change it? And that's something that I've done. I've sat and just watched other people. I've listened to coaches do them. And then now it's nice because you don't have to create your own PowerPoint. You can go into the Coach Online office and you can actually download the business opportunity presentation that BeachBody has created. And so I've downloaded that, and this is what I use. I've downloaded theirs, and then I deleted the generic pictures, you know, that they had put, and I put my own, put my transformation story, put pictures of my team, you know, changed the wording, add a couple extra slides that talk specifically about my team and what I have to offer, and there's my business opportunity call. Now, the first time I did this, I was a 2-star. I can remember being scared out of my mind, right? And you can use Zoom, you can use Google On Air, it's like YouTube On Air, and it'll just present live. You know, you can pre-record it. This is actually what I've been teaching my new diamonds to do. So when somebody goes diamond, this is kind of what I start talking to them about, is establishing themselves as a leader and thinking outside the box. And so I have had such a hard time getting my new coaches to do these business opportunity calls. And the suggestion I gave to them was, how about pre-recording it? How about sitting down at your computer, and you can use that Windows Media Maker, I think is what, Movie Maker, and you can sit there and you can record it, you can put your slides up, you can do the whole thing, and it doesn't even have to be live. And then you can upload it to YouTube, and you can say at 9 p.m. it's live. You can give everybody the link, and there you go. You've got a live business opportunity call, right? But it gives you that practice, and that's what you need. You've got to take that leap of faith, and you've got to do it. And then once you do that, once you have that business opportunity call, every time somebody asks you for information, you have something to share. You're not directing them to your upline stuff. You're not directing them to somebody else on your team, because you want to be seen as a leader. You want to be seen as the person that has the knowledge and information, and you want to step out on your own. It doesn't have to be an hour. It can be 20 minutes. But your personality is going to shine through, and that's what we want. We want people to make that connection with you and hear your story, your heart, your passion for the business too. So take that leap of faith. This is one of your call to actions. I really want you to download that business opportunity, Set a date that you're gonna run yours and do one in the month of February. And something that I did early on too was I would split it. So myself and a couple of other coaches on my team, we would all take turns. We'd each get on and share a different part. And we would do it together. We would do a dry run ahead of time. We would practice. And you know what? They didn't always go perfect. We stumbled, we stuttered, our slides didn't work, right? It didn't start on time, but it's okay. Nobody expects you to be perfect. They just want to hear your story. All right. Now, I'm almost done. Teaching confidence. I think teaching confidence is like one of the hardest things that you can do. Putting yourself out there and having something to offer long before you even feel like you have something to offer. You know, a lot of times you look around and you say, man, there's just so many other successful coaches in this business. I'm not even near their level yet. I'm not even near where they are. The one thing you have to do, and you may have seen that post I did about putting your blinders on, you have to put your blinders on. You have to say, I'm good enough. I have something to offer. I have heart, I have soul, I have passion in this business, and I want to help people. And so having confidence long before you have the skills is like one of the biggest keys to being successful, is people need to feel that from you. And they can feel it. They can feel it in your posts. They can feel it in what you say, how you carry on a conversation, how you hold yourself. And that is super important. So I really kind of stepped up and said, I'm a leader long before I am. You always hear that, fake it till you make it kind of a deal. You know, I really do that. And then in my posts, I would use like successful coach, top coach, elite coach, top coach training. I would use those keywords that I had something to offer because I wanted to be seen as that person. I was like framing myself in my mind. I was just feeding those positive things to myself because that's where I wanted to go. That's where I was going to be, and I didn't see myself any other way. And so if you start using words like that with yourself, you'll notice that your confidence will just naturally build over time. All right, another thing that I've done, even for your coaches, when you're looking at them and you see that their confidence is suffering, and that's like the biggest thing in this business is confidence. You know, that is probably the number one thing that holds people back from inviting, is they're not confident. So something I've done for my team is created a Google document, and I've taken all the best recruiting posts out there that I've seen from other organizations, other people. If something catches my eye, I save it, the link to the document, and I kind of say, this is why. Sometimes I'll copy their text, the way they worded it, and I just have this Google document of how to advertise for coaches. I just did one on how to invite, because inviting was hard. And so this helps to build confidence for your team as well, because they can go out and look at how other people are doing it and say, oh yeah, I like that. That's my style. I can do that too. So, and then also be willing to give constructive criticism, give good positive feedback to your coaches. So as you're teaching them these skills, right? So as you do all of this, as you go back home and you start to do this, I want you to be very vocal about teaching them what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. Go to your upline, ask them to review your posts, ask them to read what you're doing, ask them to be on your business opportunity calls, and then that gives you feedback that helps you boost your confidence, and ask your coaches to do it too. Ask them to give you their stuff so that you can give them feedback. And everything that they do, just love on them and show them they're doing a good job, right? Even if nobody responded, say, you know what, you're planting seeds. This is exactly what you want to be doing. You're going to get there. Keep trying. Hey, my first business opportunity call, I had 3 people on the call. 2 were my coaches. I had 1 person. I actually had 1 month where nobody showed up, and I did it anyways. I just recorded it anyways. I just thought, hey, this is practice for me. Nobody